Well, Spencer Seim is a noted fishing guide, a fly tying expert, and historian, and he figured prominently in the book and the movie to be the feather thief. I visited him at his home in Taos, New Mexico, where he was at work making his own fishing hooks from raw steel. And you'll see pictures of some of this stuff throughout this video. But I was visiting him mainly because he wrote the most remarkable little essay or meme, which has been shared over 600,000 times on Facebook alone. So we can figure it's probably been seen by at least 6 million people worldwide. And I was curious to know how it came about.
It's a word I've had to get used to.
Yeah.
In the digital age.
Yeah.
Because most of my writings have been done with a pen on paper, and or even spoken as a story. And as far as a meme goes, I never really understood the real meaning of the word meme until we started getting into the social media world. I would be happy to read it. As the world fights to figure everything out, I'll be holding doors for strangers and letting people cut in front of me in traffic, saying good morning, keeping babies entertained in grocery lines, stopping to talk to someone who is lonely, tipping generously, waving at police, sharing food, giving children a thumbs up, being patient with sales clerks, smiling at a passerby, and buying a stranger a cup of coffee. Why? Because I will not stand to live in a world where love is invisible. Join me in showing kindness, understanding, and judging less. Be kind to a stranger. Give grace to friends who are having a bad day. Be forgiving with yourself. If you can't find kindness, then be kindness. It was a big... kindness has always been a big thing to me. One thing that I'm very aware of is how I affect other people. What is my impact on the world when I go out and I leave my house for the day? What do other people see? How do other people feel? And that is something that I'm always conscious of. I've always, when my daughter was a little baby, we were at the grocery store. And I loved running errands with her and getting her out into the world and stuff. And it was the holidays. I think it was between Christmas and New Year's in 2014. And my father at the time had sent me, every year he'd send me a $50 gift card, like one of those Visa gift cards. And I always, I would have one in my wallet and not think about it and just forget that I even had it. And one day, my daughter and I are walking towards the grocery store, and we see this old veteran with a cardboard sign. And I told my daughter, I said, I don't know if this is going to sink into you or not, but inside the man holding this sign, he is someone's son. He is someone's father, most likely. He's a friend. And I approached him. And I sat down with him. That's a big thing to me, is when I want to help someone, I like to sit down and be with them. Being with is everything. And I asked him his name. I don't think he was ready for me to ask him what his name was. And I ended up giving him a $50 gift card, and he just couldn't believe it. I said, yes, this is as good as money. And it might be cold tonight, so why don't you get yourself a nice warm place to sleep tonight? And he proceeded to tell me about his daughter and his friends and how he served this country and how he's having a really hard time finding people to sit with and just talk to. He didn't want anything from me. But what I saw was when I stepped up and started speaking with him, I was the one gaining out of this. Years ago I worked for the Boy Scouts at Philmont in Cimarron, New Mexico, and that ranch was given to the Boy Scouts by Wade Phillips, the founder of Phillips 66, and he said something in his memoirs that I've never forgotten, that some people think that happiness comes from getting, while other people know that happiness comes from giving. And that's something that's resonated with me for years. And I've experienced it on the other side. Before I moved to Taos, a lot of my friends and family know about this, but I was homeless in the streets of Denver for a while. Mm-hmm. And I took to hopping freight trains and going back and forth across the country. And I had my own story. I had my own reasons for living that life. And when someone was kind to me or treated me with respect or treated me as if one of their own, it made my existence feel worth it. And that is something that I've always wanted to give other people, is that feeling of you belong here, you have a job here, and I see that. And that's what put me together with this. Now this meme that I wrote, it was right at the start of COVID, the lockdown. People were having really hard times. Of course, we were all supposed to stay home and shelter at home, they say. But what about the homeless? Where do they get to go? Where do they have to go? And that bugged me a lot. Every time I think about it, still to this day, I tear up a little bit because it's such a big thing to me. We need to belong somewhere. And to some people, it's town that you belong to, or some people belong to that river that they live on. But I just, I want people to feel seen by me. And even if someone's not having a good day, having a really bad day, I want to be that little glimpse of light. And I think that if more people did that, then we would be a much happier place. I actually was, I just come back in from spending some time outside looking at the sky at night, looking at the stars, and a lot of times when I'm thinking about my next thing that I want to write, that's the time. It's usually the twilight and the stars coming in, and I felt really motivated to kind of give a call to arms to everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's what it was. It took me literally about 20 minutes. Sometimes it just really flows and the words just come out, and I don't have to come up with alternative ways to structure a sentence or anything like that. But it was one of those things that hit home, but I wanted it to catch people's attention. And you talk to me about meme. Usually, I get in there and I just start typing. And with this one, I actually used a meme app so that it would actually make it look and appear more bold and would show up as a photo, as a picture. And that's the thing that I think was helpful for this to be shared so many times, is that it was more of an image. When I see how many times it's being shared, I don't feel like that's glorifying me. I want it to glorify the words that I meant to say, because I want this to resonate with everyone out there. This is such a, the social media aspect of our lives is, in my opinion, still very in its infantile stage. I think that memes could become the future of communicating electronically with people. I think that this, more and more, I'm noticing that people have a shorter attention span than ever before. And a meme gives someone a way to read something in a few seconds and then move on. And I think that's what I was trying to do with this. I even felt that it was too wordy when I first wrote it. I even chopped it down. That's half of what I originally wrote. And I think I chopped it down because I wanted it to be something that you could read that took about 20 seconds. And that's what I think most people's attention span is these days when you're scrolling through Facebook or something like that. I will say that I was really amazed at how far and wide this reached. Sam Cutler was actually the tour manager for the Grateful Dead through the 60s and 70s, who now lives in Australia. He shared it on his Facebook page. he is someone who I would have never dreamed meeting, much less having him share something that I wrote. And really, I think that the words themselves are more important than the person who wrote them. And that I want to exude kindness, and I want people to do the same. I like to lead through example. I'm a big believer in servant leadership. I think that the best leaders in the world are all the best servants as well. And I try to just exude that. I try to really be the kindness that I write about. Because, well, these are all things that I think about. I have been that stay-at-home dad with a new baby, and I'm walking, trying to get into the post office, carrying a car seat with me, and noticing if someone sees that I might need help and they're going to open up that door. Boy, that's everything. And I want to be that person for others. Also, another thing was that got me into this place was I saw my mother wither away from ALS, and she passed away in 2019.
Wow, sorry.
And what I found was that my father and my mother were completely relying on the kindness of others when they were out in the world trying to live a normal life, to try to go get the ice cream. And, respecting that handicap spot. If you see someone having a hard time getting across a parking lot, offer some help. And I really, really think that's the epitome of it. I think that we're in this world together, and we have to help each other out whenever we see. And I'm getting, it's interesting to me because driving in Taos, as we all know, there's one main road that goes right through the center of town. It's really hard to make a left-hand turn in our town unless someone coming the opposite direction flashes you and says, come on. I want to be that person who's flashing the light saying, go ahead, it's fine. The people behind me, they can wait. And I just think that's what it is.
Well, I want to get my moment of notoriety. You don't have to move.
All right.
I just want to get in with you here for one moment. I know this guy, the guy behind the famous meme.
Oh,
Okay.
Great to meet you, Jim. Now I know Jim Turr.
Oh boy.
Come here, Lucky.
Introduce people.
Come here, sweet boy. This is our new puppy. His name is Lucky. He's a black lab, and he's about 14 weeks old, I think.